Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. So about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, I want to talk about these comments that Michael Jordan's agent made. I know I'm a little bit late on the, a little late to the party on these comments, but I wanted to talk about these comments, and I wanted to talk about Rich Paul's response and Stephen A. Smith's response, because both of these guys are crying and moaning about David Falk's comments in relation to Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and how LeBron James, quote-unquote, cherry-picked his own teams, and somehow, some way, still, doesn't have the amount of championships of Michael Jordan. But more so than the comments that David Falk made, which we all agree with, it's the response from someone like Rich Paul and Stephen A. Smith that I want to focus on in this video, because I just heard comments from Rich Paul in response to that, and this dude is a straight clown, man. Rich Paul just making excuses, man. That's all it is for Rich Paul continue to cover up for his boy LeBron James. And we're going to talk about something that Stephen A. Smith was talking about the other day when I heard his response on ESPN's First Take, and once again, more nonsensical comments from Stephen A. Smith. And we're going to talk about this video, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, you know I'm truly humbled by all support, man. Shout out to everybody in the membership. You guys email, sending me messages, liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, sharing it. Thank you very much to all you guys, man. For real, it means a lot, guys. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, wanted to talk about these comments that David Falk made and the response by Rich Paul and Stephen A. Smith. Now, I was listening to my man Charles over in Dreamers Pro the other day when he was, breaking the news on these comments and the response from Rich Paul and the response from Stephen A. Smith. And I believe he did another video not that long ago, because I believe Stephen A. Smith actually had David Falk, Michael Jordan's agent, on his show. I believe he had him on a show, I don't know, last night or whatever it was, to basically, clarify his comments. I don't know why people want to do the clarify. And then to clarify, he said what he said, and he meant what he said. And he's right on the money here. When you talk about, quote-unquote, cherry-picking teams, teammates, and how many championships Michael Jordan would have won if he was able to do these things, or if he would have done that. Now, we all know, and we have said many times, man, if Michael Jordan would have done what LeBron James did, then he would have teamed up with Hakeem Olajuwon and Charles Barkley, let's say, right? Or he would have joined forces with someone like Patrick Ewing and Clyde Drexler, right? Or Patrick Ewing and Reggie Miller, right? Something like that. Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Hardaway, right? That would have been the equivalent of what LeBron James did going to Miami, would have been the equivalent of something like that, right? So we often would say, guys did not do that back in the day. But if Michael Jordan were to do something like that, my goodness, could you imagine Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Charles Barkley on the same team at the same time? Insane. Or if you had Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and John Stockton on the same team at the same time. Remember, they were all in the same draft class together. So it would have been interesting to see a dynamic like that. And what would have happened, I don't believe that Michael Jordan would have averaged 17 points a game in an NBA Finals, that year, if they would have done had a team like that. I don't think Michael Jordan would have been standing in the corner, hiding out, getting bullied out there on the basketball court like LeBron James did in 2011 when he brought his super team together at the peak of his career, right? So we laugh about how LeBron James, his record is 4-6. See, I think that's a problem for LeBron James fans, someone like Rich Paul. They just can't escape the fact that LeBron James is 4-6. And they often will say, well, how come they're always highlighting LeBron James' record, right? They always talk about the losses. But the reason why LeBron James' finals record is highlighted more so than anyone else's record, the reason why it's important that we highlight that 4-6 record is because of the very things that LeBron James did throughout his career. Putting these super teams together, right? Finagling the coaches, right? Getting all these free agents and trades. Doing everything to put the odds in his favor, yet you're still losing. That's why we highlight this. This man was able to do all this picking and choosing, cherry picking, and yet you still lost more than you won. You're not 6-4 or 7-3. You're 4-6. And once again, you were swept several times in the finals. You were gentlemen swept several times in the finals, even though you were putting the odds in your favor all this time. And when they talk about the 8 straight NBA finals, which is funny to me, they'll celebrate 8 straight trips to the finals, but they don't want to talk about the actual results of those finals. Doesn't make any sense. So, like I've told you, they've lowered the standard for LeBron James. They celebrate mediocrity. So just going to the 8 straight finals is impressive. But why is it not impressive? Because this happened during the weakest Eastern Conference in NBA's history. So who's impressed with LeBron James going to 8 straight NBA finals in the weakest conference that we've ever seen, guys? When I did those numbers from 2005 to 2015, guys, the Eastern Conference was so weak compared to the West, guys. And I broke down the head-to-head matchups. It wasn't even close, guys. Not even close. So they celebrate him going there when you play in the weakest East ever. Doesn't make any sense. It's not impressive when you stack your team up in a weak conference. If your conference was stacked like the West was, and you stacked up your team, and you were getting beat or making it to the conference, to the championship, then maybe we could say something. But that's not the case for LeBron James. It's the complete opposite. So, when I heard these comments from David Falk, and like I said, I know I'm a little bit behind on this, I wasn't really going to talk about it until I heard the response from Stephen A. Smith the other day, and I just heard the comments from Rich Paul just a couple minutes ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a video on this because the response from Stephen A. Smith and Rich Paul warrant that. So now, let's think about what Rich Paul said just now. And I wrote down some key things that he said in this clip that I heard of him talking. I believe it was Rich Eisen he was speaking to in this clip that I saw. And this is in response to David Falk's comments about LeBron James cherry-picking his teams and how Michael Jordan would have won 15 championships if he would have done this. Listen, we talk about this all the time. I think about if Michael Jordan came back for the Wizards, right? Let's think about Michael Jordan didn't come back for the Wizards. Let's think about if Michael Jordan came back for the Lakers. What if he came back for the San Antonio Spurs or for the New Jersey Nets or the Detroit Pistons or, one of these teams that was a contender at that time? What if Michael Jordan wanted to cherry pick his teams like that, come back and get some easy rings, being the 6th man off the bench or something like that? He could have easily done that on the Lakers or San Antonio Spurs. He's talking about Mike. You tell me Michael Jordan couldn't have given 15, 20 quality minutes to a championship contending team like that and got maybe another ring or two on his resume? He could have easily done that, but that's not how Michael Jordan played the game. Once again, coming back for the Wizards for a reason, for ownership of the team, right? Showing these guys how to win, right? There was a reason when he came back. Remember, he donated his salary to the 9/11 victims. So it wasn't about the money and the fame at that time for Michael Jordan necessarily. It's about the love of the game. It's about competing. It was about showing these guys how to get it done the right way. Someone like Rip Hamilton, right? Learning from that experience with Michael Jordan. He's often talked about how he took that experience to Detroit and what made him a champion. Playing with Michael Jordan that year was a big thing for Rip Hamilton's career, man. It really helped him a lot. He learned a lot. A lot of those guys learned a lot from Michael Jordan during those 2 seasons. But Michael Jordan didn't do that, right? Michael Jordan didn't cry and moan to the general manager, right, for trades and free agents, which is funny because Rich Paul brought up Jerry Krause in this clip, which is hilarious to me. I tell you guys, Michael Jordan's held to a higher standard. So in this clip, Rich Paul brings up Phil Jackson, Dean Smith, and Jerry Krause. Jerry Krause, Michael Jordan is the only player in NBA's history, guys, that they bring up the general manager when they talk about him. Think about that. That's a standard that Michael Jordan's held to that no other player's held to. So they'll talk about Bill Russell 11 championships, but you won't mention Red Auerbach. No one mentions Red. I never hear Red Auerbach's name get brought up, but I hear Phil Jackson's name all the damn time. Red Auerbach was the master conductor of the Boston Celtics, the head coach, the president, the GM. He was everything. He was the one getting all these players, right? But no one ever talks about Red Auerbach. All I hear is Bill Russell got 11 championships from LeBron James fans. Oh, if we're talking championships, then Bill Russell's the GOAT. Really, that's what LeBron James fans love to say. If we're talking championships, Bill Russell's the GOAT. But they don't talk about Red Auerbach for Bill Russell. I hear Phil Jackson's name all the damn time. I hear Jerry Krause's name all the damn time, but no one talk about Red Auerbach. Can someone tell me who the general manager was for the 80s Boston Celtics? The team, who put that team together? Right? They don't celebrate the general manager for the 80s Celtics. Can someone tell me the general manager for the 80s Lakers was? Does anyone know this? How come they never talk about these players? Huh? Can someone tell me who the general manager was for the 2000s Lakers or the 2000 Spurs or the 2000 Sacramento Kings that were really good, right? Or the 2000 New Jersey Nets that went to back-to-back finals? Can someone tell me who the architect of these teams were? Does anyone know? Does anyone know the general manager was the back-to-back Houston Rockets? Does anyone know the general manager was for the 90s Knicks? Does anyone know the general manager for any of these damn teams? Could you tell me these guys? Who was the general manager for the Milwaukee Bucks in the early 70s? Who was the general manager for the New York Knicks in the early 70s? Does anyone know who the general manager was for the Lakers in the 60s? Who's the general manager for these great dynasties and great players and teams? No one knows. But for Michael Jordan, everyone wants to talk about Jerry Krause, a guy who would never be known if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. So once again, remember, Jerry Krause did not draft Michael Jordan. So if Michael Jordan was never drafted to the Bulls, you think Scottie Pippen's going to be a household name? Horace Grant? You think these guys are going to be household names? You're going to be celebrating Jerry? What moves did Jerry Krause make that was great in his career? Okay, other than what? Scottie Pippen's his claim to fame. And the only reason why you know Scottie Pippen that well is because of Michael Jordan, not because of Jerry Krause or Phil Jackson. But Rich Paul brings up these guys' names in a discussion when David Falk never mentions Phil Jackson, never mentions general managers. He talks about LeBron James cherry picking his teams. This dude brings up Phil Jackson and Jerry Krause. Rich Paul, what does that have to do with anything that David Falk said? It has nothing to do with that. So you're going to say that it was Jerry Krause. He's such a great GM. Such a great GM, Jerry Krause. What move can you tell me that he made? Can anyone name the moves that he made? Once again, it was Michael Jordan doing more with less, right? Playing with the hand he was dealt. Rich Paul, did LeBron James do that? No. Rich Paul's talking about, Michael Jordan didn't have to leave. He didn't have to leave Chicago. LeBron James didn't have to leave Cleveland. He chose to leave Cleveland, you count? I love how they make it seem like he had to go. LeBron James fans love to talk this way. Oh, he had to get out of Cleveland. They weren't doing nothing. They weren't doing nothing for him. I want you guys, and I've done videos on this, go back and look at the rosters from 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 2010, and you tell me that the Cleveland Cavaliers organization did not do anything for LeBron James. Go look at how many names are on those rosters, how many players, free agents, trades they signed, all kinds of guys. You have Julius Ergowski when you got there. Michael Jordan didn't have no all-star players on his team. When LeBron James got to that Cleveland Cavaliers team, so Julius Ergowski was an all-star the year before LeBron James got there. There wasn't a damn all-star in sight when Michael Jordan got to the Bulls. Not in sight. So once again, just off the jump, that's a complete false statement that Rich Paul loves to talk about. Oh, Michael Jordan didn't have to leave Chicago. LeBron James had. No, he didn't. He didn't have to leave. The reason why LeBron James left is that he couldn't make it work. He didn't know how to figure it out. So he had to bail out and find out and learn from someone else in a different location. Those are the facts. LeBron James played with guys like Julius Ergowski, with guys like Delonte West, with guys like Antoine Jameson, with guys like Shaquille O'Neal, with guys like Ben Wallace, right? With guys like Carlos Boozer, Anderson Varejao, Daniel Gibson, right? Larry Hughes, Mo Williams. He's played with all kinds of players in Cleveland the first go-around. These are all different players that came through there at one time or another, guys. All kinds of names on these rosters. And LeBron James couldn't make it work, right? The Cleveland Cavaliers win 66 games, but then they get bounced out in the playoffs, and then they act like he ain't got no help. So his team was good to win 66 games, but they weren't good enough to win the postseason, right? This is the excuse that they make for LeBron James. You got Rich Paul bringing up Jerry Krause, but it has nothing to do with anything. Nothing to do with anything. Also, Rich Paul said, what else he said? He said these comments are beneath David Falk. So he tries to take a shot at David Falk by basically saying that these comments are beneath him. How are these comments beneath David Falk when he tells the facts? See, you know what's funny is that he'll say these comments are beneath David Falk, but this is the same fool that was talking about how he's as great of a shooter as Steph Curry, Reggie Miller, and Ray Allen, guys. Those were the three names that he brought. I did a video on this last year when Rich Paul made these comments talking about how great of a shooter he is. Oh, I mean, I can shoot the ball, man. I can shoot like Steph Curry, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller. That's what he said. He compared himself to three of the greatest shooters, if not the greatest shooters in NBA's history. Rich Paul put his own self in that conversation. He put himself in that same sentence. When I tell you guys all the time on this channel, I've never once said that I could play in the NBA, that I could make it to the NBA, that I could beat any of these guys in a one-on-one. Never once said. Rich Paul says that. Rich Paul thinks he's just as great as those guys at shooting the ball. Really? So you tell me those comments are not beneath somebody? For you to make comments like that, man, you sound ridiculous. This is what we're talking about. You're living in a fantasy world. You're not living in reality, Rich Paul. You're a straight clown. You put yourself in the same conversation of three of the greatest shooters in NBA's history, but you're saying that David Falk telling the facts about LeBron, not lying, telling the facts is beneath him. Telling the truth is beneath somebody? Nah, man, the truth hurts, and you don't want to hear those comments. The facts remain that you're beneath David Falk. LeBron James is beneath Michael Jordan. And the comments that you've made over the years, I mean, what are those comments? Remember, Rich Paul was the same guy that said that Michael Jordan's antlers are gold. LeBron James are platinum. This man does not know the difference between antlers and horns, and we've clowned this dude for that. We've laughed about that. He actually exposed LeBron James as being a deer in the headlights. That's LeBron James' reaction. Whenever the lights get brightest, he freezes up like a deer. That's why it's antlers, not horns. Rich Paul doesn't realize this because in his mind, he actually really knows the truth that LeBron James is not a GOAT. So he was never thinking about horns. He thinks about antlers, right? This guy's supposed to be educated. This guy's a millionaire, right? A bunch of times over. This guy don't know the difference between horns and antlers, guys. Think about this. This LeBron James' right-hand man, a yes man. That's all Rich Paul is. A yes man. No one you should never want to have a friend like Rich Paul, guys. I told you, true, real friends will tell you about yourself. They will call you out and they'll hold you accountable for what you do. If you change, if you become a different person suddenly, your real friends will let you know that. They'll let you know about yourself. Same thing if you're in a relationship, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your significant other, whoever it is. They should be able to be honest with you. They should be able to hold you accountable, hold you to a standard, right? So like I told you guys, LeBron James has his wife go on stage and call him the GOAT. That's not her holding him accountable, and that's not him holding her accountable. You disrespect your wife that way. You have no respect for you ever come on stage and say some nonsense like that. You make her look stupid like that. And like I said, she should have said to LeBron James, I ain't calling you that, dude. Stop it right now. You ain't going to embarrass me like that. But like I tell you, as LeBron James don't respect his wife, he don't give a damn about his wife or his kids. Everything that he has going for him is all in service of him. Everyone, Rich Paul, all these people, the yes men, they're all in service of LeBron James. His teammates, the coaches, the city, the organization, the fans, everyone's supposed to be for LeBron James. How dare you criticize him, David Falk, according to Rich Paul. Rich Paul also brought up the quote-unquote black man. I don't know why these guys go to this race card, man. It's really disgusting to me. Rich Paul claims to be black. Oh, Rich Paul, you black as hell, right? Stop it, man. You're corny as hell, dude. You a fake black dude. You ain't real black dude, man. And anytime you have to hear someone bring up how blackness or anything, once again, they've exposed themselves. These guys are fake as hell, man. They're not real. They're not men. Rich Paul ain't no grown man. The dude's a straight client. He's a loser, man. Look at him. Listen to him. The dude don't even know what he's talking about at the time. He just rambles on. And the crazy thing about that whole clip, I know I'm rambling on here. This man did not deny it. He said all this stuff. He never denied it, though. He never denied that LeBron James cherry-picked his teams. So he could be mad at those words. You could tell. He was very upset at those direct words. It was the wording that David Falk used that really upset Rich Paul. It wasn't the fact that David Falk was lying, because he wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. But those words really hurt someone like Rich Paul, because when you listen to it or when you hear that, cherry-picked his team, right? That sounds really bad, doesn't it? Because that's the facts. LeBron James literally demanded they trade Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love, or he wasn't going back to Cleveland. That's called cherry-picking your team. You went there because you knew Kyrie Irving was there, right? You go to Miami, but you have to bring Chris Bosh with you, right? Then you go out and get Ray Allen. This is hand-picking, cherry-picking your teams. Michael Jordan never did that, not even close. Because the funny thing is, he brings up Jerry Krause in the article, in this clip. But Jerry Krause is on the record as saying, Michael Jordan never once came to me to ask for a trade, ask me to get a free agent, or ask for this guy or that guy. Never once, Jerry Krause said. And they don't even like each other. So why would Jerry Krause lie about that? So Michael Jordan never went to Jerry Krause for any favors, anything like that. But Rich Paul brings up Jerry Krause as if Jerry Krause was, doing all this stuff for Michael Jordan behind the scenes, getting him all these players. The dude drafted Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, right? And Michael Jordan worked with it. He didn't cry and moan about it. He pushed those guys, right? So once again, he maximized Jerry Krause's picks. LeBron James can never say that about anybody. So Rich Paul could bring up Jerry Krause, but you guys don't know the general management aims of the teams. Why is that? Because Michael Jordan, once again, being held to a high standard, maximizing, doing 2-3 peats with these players, right? No one else is doing this kind of stuff. Now, when we think about Stephen A. Smith, briefly, we talk about Stephen A. Smith comments. The one thing that I was disturbed with Stephen A. Smith is what we're always talking about, guys, in relation to Stephen A. Smith and the Michael Jordan, LeBron James debate stuff that we all know there is no debate. That is one of the main reasons why I started talking basketball on YouTube, guys. All right, I wanted to start a channel with fitness and health, motivation, things like that. But when I started getting into the basketball space, the sports talk, the main problem for me was, like I told you guys many times, all of a sudden I woke up one day and LeBron James was right behind Michael Jordan. And I was like, when did LeBron James pass everybody? There was never a conversation. There was never a debate. There was never a discussion. All of a sudden, I woke up in the morning, they had Michael Jordan here and LeBron James right behind him. Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Dr. J, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Hakeem Olajuwon, all the great players. All of a sudden, he passed all of those guys out of nowhere. No one understood how this happened. No one told us about it. No one talked to the real true fans about this. There was never a conversation, guys. Never there was. All of a sudden, this man's right behind Michael Jordan. That's part of the reason why we're here. Setting the record straight, because it's not true. But Stephen A. Smith is one of the biggest culprits behind this narrative. And he continued that the other day when he responded to these comments on First Take. And he said, there aren't 3 players in the NBA's history greater than LeBron James. That was his exact comments. And that's laughable for him to say. This is where you expose yourself, Stephen A. Smith, as not keeping the history and the facts to facts, and not respecting the history of the NBA and giving perspective and context here. David Falk makes these comments. He's on the money. And Stephen A. Smith agreed with that. LeBron James handpicked his teams. Cherry-picked. Can't deny that. But Stephen A. Smith had a problem with David Falk saying that maybe he's in his top 10. Maybe he's in his top 10. Right? He's probably in his top 10. And Stephen A. Smith said there aren't 3 NBA players greater than LeBron James. That's a lie, Stephen A. Smith. I'm calling BS on that statement. And once again, Stephen A. Smith can't back that statement up. Did he back it up with any facts or evidence? No, he just rambled off with emotions. Oh, there aren't 3 great basketball players greater than LeBron James. Yes, there are, easily. Easily. So once again, Michael Jordan, we all know, Stephen A. Smith will agree, he has Michael Jordan number 1 still, but he continues to promote LeBron James as the 2nd greatest player of all time, right behind Michael Jordan. And the only players that I think that he'll actually listen to being above LeBron James is Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which is laughable to me because I don't even believe that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the great center of all time. So how the hell is he right behind Michael Jordan, guys? That's my opinion, guys. I will never put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar above Bill Russell, and I will never put him above Will Chamberlain. I won't do it, guys. And I probably wouldn't even put him above Hakeem Olajuwon, guys. I won't put him above Hakeem Olajuwon. Once again, this is my opinion on this, man. I do not think that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is as great as everyone pumps him up to be. I put Magic Johnson above Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I put Kobe Bryant above Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here. So he only has Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar above LeBron James in his opinion. But to me, Larry Bird is clearly greater than LeBron James. Clearly, Larry Bird is greater than LeBron James. I don't even understand how someone could deny this. And I've done videos on that. I think Kobe Bryant is greater than LeBron James. But Stephen A. Smith won't agree on this, right? I clearly think that Tim Duncan is clearly greater than LeBron James. Bill Russell is greater than LeBron James. Will Chamberlain is way greater than LeBron James, right? Hakeem Olajuwon I'm putting above LeBron James. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar I'll put above LeBron James. To me, Dr. J is greater than LeBron James. Magic Johnson is greater than LeBron James. So when we talk about the players that are not above LeBron James, according to Stephen A. Smith, what the hell are you talking about, man? And like I said, I can make a clear argument against LeBron James versus all these guys easily. Because LeBron James' resume is only paper. That's it. Once you scrutinize it, once you call up the references and check on this fool, you realize his resume ain't worth a damn. It can't hold up to the other all-time greats. He's cherry-picked for his stats, for his championships, right? This is what he's done. He's been able to carry the ball up and down the court, travel all over the place, offensive foul up and down the court, get all these free throws in his favor, load manage, flop around on the court. All of these things in the weakest, softest era of NBA's history, man. No one respects that stuff, right? Like I said, LeBron James still flopping around, still load managing. No one respects him, man. Standing around on defense all these years. But there's not 3 greater players than LeBron James according to Stephen A. Smith. This is where Stephen A. Smith exposes himself, man. He's still promoting this LeBron James right behind Michael Jordan nonsense, man, that no one is vibing with. Don't no one agree on this. I told you the real true basketball fans know the deal. LeBron James ain't nowhere close to Michael Jordan, guys, and he ain't top 10. He's not worthy or deserving to be in a top 10 conversation with these guys. And resume-wise, he can't stand up to them dudes. On-court game-wise, can't stand up to them dudes. Like we said, to me, LeBron James is not even the greatest player of his era. How the hell is he behind Michael Jordan? Steph Curry's done more with less and done more in less time than LeBron James has. And he did not need to form super teams to finagle his stats and to load manage all over the place. He ain't standing around blowing his hands on defense, walking across half court. He ain't getting coaches fired or crying and moaning for free agents and all this other stuff. This dude is winning with the guys that were drafted there. That's Steph Curry, man. Right? Once again, he's impacted the game, saved LeBron James in the Olympics. Right? He's made the game better, not worse, like LeBron James did. People want to be like Steph Curry. They want to play like Steph Curry. Now LeBron James, man. Those are the facts. You guys know the deal. For Stephen A. Smith to say that there aren't 3 players in NBA history greater than LeBron James, it exposes Stephen A. Smith and his lack of overall knowledge and his refusal to keep the facts to facts. He continues to lie for LeBron James and pump him up into a realm that he's never been in. And Rich Paul, you sound ridiculous, man, but you didn't deny the comments, though, because you know they're true, and the truth hurts. That word cherry pick, that term cherry pick, hurt Rich Paul really bad because it's true, and he knows it's true. That's why he's over there rambling on, bringing up all this other stuff in that clip, except for addressing the comments that David Falk made. LeBron James cherry picked his teams, right, Rich Paul? You know he did. That's why he didn't deny it. And Michael Jordan would have all those championships if he did those kinds of things, but he didn't. You bring up Jerry Krause and Phil Jackson. What does that have to do with anything? Remember, Michael Jordan was leading the Bulls to the playoffs his first 3 years in the league with 3 different head coaches during a rebuild. There's never been excuses for Michael Jordan, but all Rich Paul did was go up there and make excuses. That's all he continues to do is make excuses. Instead of holding LeBron James to a standard, instead of calling his friend out, right, for all the nonsense that he's done, all the comments that he's made, he continues to lie for LeBron James. He continues to lie about himself, lie about LeBron James' career, make up stories about Michael Jordan, bend reality, but he won't address the facts. And I've seen some people out there talking about Rich Paul got a lot to say to David Falk, but he got nothing to say to Chael Sonnen, though, right? These guys are cowards, man, just like LeBron James fans. You guys know the deal. I'll catch you guys on the next one.